start by really saying where the problem is in science, in natural science in that case. The problem is natural science, theoretical physics. There are basic things, very basic, so simple. But when you start the first step on the wrong foot, don't be astonished when things you can trip, fall down. The point is really, in a very, very abstract and wide concept, democracy. You see, we physicists very often don't take a lot of people seriously who are not physicists. So do engineer. So do mathematician. And the problem is you have to embrace everything.
Yes.
Sure, for sure, theoretical physics is not philosophy. But if you don't understand philosophy, you will be impeded. You will find it difficult to really reach the absolute limit of what you can reach. When you don't know a little bit about engineering as well, for instance, nonlinear dynamic, still to a large extent, not as bad as it used to be, is ignored in things like high energy physics and quantum physics and cosmology. You have to embrace everything, and you have to know really what you are talking about. It's very important to realize at the end, as a human being, large object called human being, you need at the end to know how much is this, to know that you have eaten enough. It's related to the size of the stomach and the amount of food you can put in it. And to predict when you will predict theoretically when you will have enough food, you'll have to say how much food you will eat, how many kilo, how large it is it fluid, it is solid. It's very important to come with a number. And in our number system, the ordinary number system we use, and also the binary system, and also quantum computer, and which we don't have yet, but we are trying to have, there are two numbers which are not numbers, and they play havoc with our calculation. 0 and infinity are abhorred in everything because, they are not numbers, they are philosophical concepts. So unless you know that, then you will be starting already with the wrong foot about things. It is amazing how confusing the situation is between 0 and empty and nothingness. People do confuse it. I mean, highly educated people and people who are very, very clever otherwise, but habits we can be slaves of our own habits without noticing. Empty is not 0, is not nothing. They are different things. So, although, as you know, I don't drink alcohol at all because of my stomach. The bought wine here, which is in the end, but the bottle and these glasses, let's say this is a multiverse. If I say this is my universe, then it is useless to ask what's outside because this is my universe. So this is the set, which I call universe. This is a bottle of bought wine, which is in there. But to say that it is inside it, there is nothing, is totally misunderstanding. It is empty, but it is not nothing.
Right.
Nothing is what outside.
I see.
Because we have said, only the set is there. And if our universe is set or a multi-set, multiverse in the modern parlance, but inside is not nothing.
Yes, understood.
It is outside.
Yep.
And this is the surface of it. Now, if I put dust inside, and every little dust is a zero, so if it's inside zeros, then you cannot say there is nothing. They are inside zeros. So zero is not empty, and empty is not nothing.
Yep.
Nothing is what outside it.
Those are three different
And this
concepts.
is enormously
yeah.
important. And the point is, nobody really care about this because we don't need it in engineering.
So before
But we are asking now a very deep question. And then if you don't get it right, then you will be shocked to know there's something called dark energy. Dark energy and dark matter and pure dark energy, which makes the universe expand, all these things are confused and became mysterious, not because they are mysterious that much, because experimentalists have found, through measurement, that these things really happening. They are because of our habit of being sloppy by very, very terse notion, which we thought they are equivalent. We say zero when there is nothing, but nothing is not zero.
Okay.
We say it is nothing when it's empty, but empty is not. And you take only people who got this talent for pure thoughts and pure mathematics, which we as an engineer would dismiss them because we don't need to know these things when we have a car. When we design a car, I don't need to know that. But when you ask fundamental question, which will lead you to have a car without fuel, so you will have fantastic possibility. Then you have to be very careful and embrace the philosopher, the pure mathematician, the applied mathematician, the engineer, everybody on a democratic way. You don't dismiss people easily. Every time you dismiss anybody, you are making a mistake, whether you know or not. It is a prejudiced. And one thing a scientist cannot allow himself to be prejudiced. It is not impossible to notice when you are prejudiced, but it is difficult. Even the most clever person will make the mistake without noticing. It is inbuilt in this big object called a human being that they are prejudiced. But having something which is difficult doesn't mean you can fight it. Once you have this, then it's very easy to see that the most precious material that there is, from which we can do wonders, because nature showing to us, but familiarity breeds contempt, because we see that all the time, we think it is not important. Empty space is the material of which all this wonder is made, and actually using another language, the language of the pure mathematician, all these things have been worked out long ago. Its dimension have been worked out long ago. Associated with name, with most physicists will not really know. Most engineer, like myself, I'm an engineer originally, wouldn't even care to know. Menger, Urysohn, Karl Menger, a pure mathematician, a Viennese actually who immigrated to the United States like many geniuses who had to escape prejudice. And Urysohn, a great Jewish Russian who died at a very tender age, in 23 or something like that. They worked all these things. And of course, the idea came from the Russian School of Mathematics.
The Russian School of Mathematics.
Which was the biggest center, which absorbed all the knowledge of the French School of Pure Mathematics which absorbed the first spark came probably, I'm not a historian to know, but I think the one who really created all that was Georg Cantor, there's no doubt.
George
You
Cantor.
know him as probably always as a German, but really he had a Russian origin, and he actually have roots going back to Spain and to Morocco, Semitic roots. That is the world we live in, you know. For a scientist, you should not care what nationality, what color, what religion a person have, but what is he talking about and how useful and deep and correct what he's saying. These people created this world for us, and it was my good fortune that I found all these things and put them together, and voila, the most difficult thing is no more difficult at all, because there are exact mathematical notions which tell you what is space is, but you have to realize that you have to read some pure mathematics, and so on and so on. Now let me say the end result of this long trip which I took when I left engineering with this lucrative payment and went into physics with its very modest, to say the least, payment or material reward, but enormous idealistic, spiritual reward.